Presence, I have Travis Tipton. He is the department head for the Bridgewatch program. We have Debbie Powers. She is the program coordinator for the Bridge1 Enhanced program. And of course, the organizer of this event is Chantal Ingram, and she's also there. And Chantal and Debbie will try their best to answer any questions that you have on the chat. If not answered, then we will probably keep them for the later. Once the presentation is done, then we will throw the floor open for you to ask questions. Okay, of course, the questions you will be allowed one at a time by Chantal to for you to come onto the your mic and then speak up the thing. Okay, with not further due to delay anymore, so you can see on the screen already. This is our marine info session today, and we're going to start talking about what exactly we do in this marine program. Okay, first of all, to acknowledge that British Columbia Institute of Technology acknowledge that our campuses are located on the unceded territories of the Coast Salish Nation people of Squamish, Tsleil-Waututh, and Musqueam people. Okay, so our agenda today is the introduction, which I've already done. Then the overview of all the programs that we are running at the Marine Institute, at the BMC especially, and probably something which is going to come down the line. Then we are going to touch on nautical sciences, marine engineering, Bridgewatch rating, enhanced Bridgewatch rating, and of course, ultimately in the end, we throw the floor open for any questions or concerns that you may have, okay, about our program. So that's me, first of all, Agnello Pereira. I'm the department head logistics for the nautical sciences and the marine engineering program. Uh, I've been almost 18 years at the marine campus. The second department head is Captain Mujib Siddiqui. He handles all the academics part of the program. Then, as I introduced to you earlier, Travis Tipton is here. He's the department head for the Bridgewatch rating and the marine emergency duties. So all the METS courses come under him. And of course, as I told you, Debbie Powers here is the program coordinator for the enhanced Bridgewatch rating program. And also Chantal is there, the organizer of all this event. So that's the life out at sea. As you see, some of our cadets as they sail on the seas, they enjoy that life, they work at life, and then of course you can see all aspects of flying being done from them, right from being out at sea to being back in the docks and ashore. Okay, so that's the various aspects life of the sea. Okay, most of these people are right now as officers or senior officers on board their ships. Okay, so these are the simulators we have on the ship. So to the leftmost, you can see that's a 360-degree tug simulator. Obviously, as you can see that this tug simulator is usually used for tugs or some specialized type of handling. So in our program, usually we do not come across this thing, but when we specialize into tug operations, then that's where we go. But we do have other simulators. As you can see to the right side on top, we have the Bridge A simulator, which is not 360, it's 180 degrees bridge simulator, which is more realistic, where we can, simulate the waves, we can simulate the weather. And as you can see in the screen itself, we have 3 or 4 people acting at the same time. One acts like as a captain of the ship, another one acts as an officer, another one acts as a steering person, and third one acts as an assistant watchkeeping officer, taking care of all the notes, right? So this is the bridge simulator that we have. Likewise, we also have the engine simulators where our engineering cadets practice all the engineering, and also they do their exams, all this. So besides all these things, you also do the demonstrate to Transport Canada how you will keep your watches, how you will act in various scenarios out at sea, and simulator is the best world going forward right now. Then we also have a MET programs which we run across with the boats. So in short, to describe the programs that we do at the Marine Campus North Vancouver, we have the Nautical Sciences, which is a 3-year diploma program, okay, which leads to your first certification of watchkeeping mate. Then we have a Marine Engineering Diploma program, which is once again a 3-year program, which leads you to your first 4th class license to work as an engineer officer on the ship. Then we have the Bridgewatch Rating program, which is a BCIT program, which is a 12-week associate certificate program. And then we have the Enhanced Bridgewatch Rating program. Of course, this is a little bit longer because this is funded by the government. So it's a 17-week associate certificate program, and which also includes certain courses. That is why it is 17 weeks long. And this is totally funded program. We will talk about a little bit more later about it. Then, of course, besides all these courses, we also do flexible learning, which means a part-time courses where students who do not want to enter a program can do certain courses which can lead them ultimately to the certification, right? So this could be a day long or maybe a few weeks long or something like that, depending on the length of the each course. Now, all this time frame is dictated by Transport Canada, and to the minimum we have to follow this. Okay. Also, we will be adding shortly a second intake of the diploma in marine engineering program. So starting January, we will be starting a second intake of the marine engineering program. Then we will also start in January our advanced diploma in marine engineering program. So that's a new one which is coming down the pipeline. And maybe 2 years down the line, we will have a new nautical sciences advanced diploma program coming. Right now, it's in the process of looking at a lot of things. So that will take some time. Okay, so that's a marine engineering program. That's an engineers when they go out at sea, they work in the engine, they do some sort of a maintenance to make the engines are all working properly to ensure that everything works well. So what happens in this engineering program is the advanced skills to work on the ship's propulsion system. So that is what you are exactly taught about by our engineers who are their senior engineers who are teaching these courses of how to work on the propulsion system so that the ship can move, how the maintenance of all the equipments on board the ship, including the engines, are carried out. Now, when we talk about engine, it's not only one engine. There are a lot of other auxiliary engines because ships are sailing out at sea. They have to generate their own powers, right? So they must have their own generators. So those also there are other equipments. Then there are boilers. There are other machineries. So whole thing. And then of course, as I told you, there's the electrical power generation stations. So that's there. And then of course, on above all this thing is standing watch and responding to any emergency. So that's the entire purpose of the certification of this program, is that you should be able to deal with any emergency scenario. And in standing your watch, how are you going to stand your watch? So when we talk about watches, how are you going to be alert on your duty and carry on your duty efficiently? Now the program schedule for the marine engineering is like that. The first term we start is your 36 weeks long of academic term one. So you are on the marine campus. Not only marine campus, you could be at the other campus. There are certain things that we have to send you to the other campuses to do, like machining, welding, or some type of skills training. So we have to send you to the other campus. Whereas when you are at the marine campus, you do mainly all the technical courses or the academic courses that you require, right? So that's what happens in the very first year. You do shop, you do math, you do computer aided designing. That's what we call the technical drawing. And of course, you do some basic type of marine emergency duties, which we commonly call the meds and the first aid. And of course, the engineering knowledge and the electrical knowledge. Then after that, finishing your first term, you go for your term two, which is you go out at sea for 19 weeks. Now, in this 19 weeks, you are given the opportunity to collect about 12 weeks of sea time. Okay, minimum 12 weeks of sea time. So that's what the opportunity given in this 19 weeks. So that's why you have a longer week available for you just to accumulate that minimum 12 weeks, minimum 3 weeks of 12 weeks of sea time. Okay, when we say sea time, means they're being working on board the ship. Then of course you after that you come back for your academic term two, which is 28 weeks long, and you go a little bit more deeper into the technical subjects of thermodynamics, physics, controls, electrical propulsion system, right? You do a couple of those. Then, of course, once you complete 28 weeks, you go again for your second sea phase, which is again 19 weeks long, not 20 weeks. It used to be 20 weeks, but we shortened to 19 weeks. And again, in the 19 weeks, you are required to accumulate your ultimate 12 weeks long. So that means totally by the end of the before the end of the program, you should have accumulated 24 weeks of your time. Okay, that roughly works out to about 6 months of sea time. And then of course you come for your final year, which is your term five or term three, whatever the third year we call it, which is 28 weeks long, where you complete the remaining amount of courses which are required, after which then you can go to Transport Canada for the final exam. So at the Transport, the final exam is basically you just write two papers called the engineering knowledge, where they test you about how much knowledge that you have acquired in these 3 years, and then they do an oral examination just to ascertain that you are fit as an officer to carry a responsible duty on board the ship. Okay, and of course there's a graduation also attached to it, and At the end of this period, you are entitled to get your diploma. Carrying on next to our nautical sciences, so you can see a good layout of the bridge. Of course, you see an officer in the middle ground. In the foreground, you can see the captain looking out of the window with his binoculars, and then of course other people are just monitoring on how things are going. So what we teach in our nautical science program is the advanced skills to work on the shipboard navigation. Okay, so that's the navigation that you carry on a day-to-day basis on making sure that the ship goes from point A to point B, sailing upon the high seas, entering the ports, being into the port, everything. Okay, and then of course involved in this is the radars and communications that you do. So you can see the radar there in the background of the cadet. So that's the radar that they would monitor, because radar is a very valuable instrument that we have on board the ship, that should the weather deteriorate and you cannot see anything outside, then radar is the instrument that you would resort to make sure that you are navigating in the proper way and there are no obstructions. And of course, communication system is how are you going to communicate out at sea with other partners over there around and other ships around. Then another aspect of the nautical side is the cargo operation, a very important aspect, because that's the commercial aspect. Because we are commercial marine carriers, so a cargo becomes a major. So we do carry cargo from point A to point B besides navigation. So you are also thought about how the cargo operations are carried out, how you do various calculations to ensure that the cargo is going to be safe for the ship. Okay, and then of course a very important aspect is the collision avoidance. Out at sea, we do not have roadways or highways or something like that. We only have what is called the seaways. So we need to follow certain collision avoidance rules so that we can maintain our route, we can maintain our lane and avoid any collisions out at sea. That could be very dangerous, like it could be environmental disasters. Okay. Now the program schedule for the nautical term is, we start with term 1, which is 28 weeks long. And of course, we do the seamanship. We do the marine emergency duties. We do some radio course in GMDSS. We do a little bit of our navigation, but we concentrate mainly on academic subjects like maths, physics. Okay, they come heavily in that, and then some regulations that we carry out in this particular academic term of 28 weeks. And then after that, you go for your first sea phase, which is 31 weeks long. Now remember, as compared to the marine engineers, the navigation officers require more sea time. That means if engineers require 6 months of sea time, the navigation officer has to produce 12 months of sea time. So you're almost doing double the time, right? So that is why we try and give you extra time out at sea. So your first sea phase, you get 31 weeks. Then after that, you come back to campus to do your academic term of 23 weeks, where you do a little bit more of navigation, meteorology, chart work, okay, astro navigation, that's what you do. Then you go back for your second sea phase, which is 39 weeks long, so it's a bit longer. So this is the time is to, if you missed out some time in the first term, you can now try and catch up in the second term of the sea phase, okay? And then of course, the third year is the final term, where you come for 25 weeks long, and you complete all the remaining courses which are required for your first certification, right? Simulated electronic navigation, electronic chart, cargo calculation, stability, and all that. And obviously, you do the graduation. And also at this moment, once you complete your 3 years and you do have your 12 months of sea time, you go to Transport Canada, you write an exam on the collision regulations, and then of course you appear for what is called the oral exam. Now oral exam is where the examiner examines you with some basic questions here and there. When I say basic, is not only basic, they are a little bit more tough also at times, but they do check to see that when you're going out at sea, are you going to be a responsible person? Because when they handed over the license to you, it ensures that you are responsible enough to carry out your duties out at sea safely and efficiently. I will hand over call to Travis now, and he will talk about the Bridgewatch rating program. Okay, so Travis, call over to you now.
Okay, thank you, Agnello. I really appreciate that. Hello, everyone. Hopefully you can hear me. My name is Travis Tipton. I've been with BCIT now for about 6 years now. I'm a watchkeeping mate near Coastal and 150-ton master, and I am actually the intern department head for Bridgewatch in MEDS. I saw a question there about Carla. She's on leave right now, so I've taken over in the interim. So hopefully she's back soon. but more than happy to step in and help out where I can. So let's talk about the Bridgewatch rating. And what we'll do is I'll kind of parallel a couple of things that are similar between the Bridgewatch, the public one, and the Bridgewatch Enhance. So first things first, as you can see here, Agnello's brought this up on the screen. We have a number of days. So currently, what we say is we work in hours. The current public Bridgewatch is 360 hours, which works out to be 12 weeks. And in that 12-week time, you do all the information that's on the screen here, marine safety, navigation, seamanship. There's a picture there of the seamanship room and our working derrick there. And that 60 days is also inclusive of the Marine Basic First Aid and the the Restricted Operator Certificate, the ROC Marine Certification, and that's a 4-day course. So after you've completed all that and you do the Bridgewatch rating final exam, you basically get, I don't know if there's a slide for this, but you basically get 4 months of training, and I'll put quotation marks, training sea time. And that training sea time and everything that you've accomplished at the school, you get your certificate, Bridgewatch training, and then your ROC and your first aid. After that program's done, you have first dibs to sign up for the basic safety training med, which is 8 days, and the proficiency in survival craft, which is 5 days. 4 days of the basic safety training is done with us at BCIT, and the other 4 are done up at the JI in Maple Ridge. And then you get your firefighting certificate, so your basic safety training, and you get your proficiency in survival craft. Once you've completed all that, you have to go get additional 2 months of sea time, and then you can go to Transport Canada with all that information, and you can get your hard copy of your Bridgewatch rating. As it stands, last we checked, you do not have to write another exam at Transport Canada, as we're a recognized institution and are accredited to operate the Bridgewatch rating course. That certificate counts for 4 months of training sea time, and you need 2 additional months. And because you passed the course, you shouldn't have to write at Transport Canada. But of course, Transport Canada likes to change things sometimes. And speaking of which, the Bridgewatch training program is currently being rewritten. Myself and our lead instructor, Alex McElroy, we're sitting down and going through the syllabus that Transport Canada has given us, and a few things are changing, not too much, but there are various things they're adding and some things are subtracting from the actual course. Having said that, though, everything that Transport Canada gives us is what we have to adhere to, and it's also from industry and the consultations through industry and stakeholders that this has changed. So there's going to be kind of a new structured course in the foreseeable future, but currently we're still operating under the old 360 hours, and Transport Canada is bringing down the course to 300 hours. So with all that said, we also have to talk about our Bridgewatch Enhanced course. Program, I should say, Bridgewatch Enhanced program. The Bridgewatch Rating Enhance is a government initiative through the Ocean Protection Plan to bring in Indigenous and women into the marine industry. It's basically trying to get people that don't usually apply for these sort of things interested in the industry. So it's open to women and Indigenous students at this time. The Bridgewatch Enhance program is already a 17-week program. And it also is inclusive of the meds, your basic safety training, and your PSC, including the radio operator certificate, your first aid, and I believe, although I'm not too sure, Debbie could answer this question better, the SVOP course, and sometimes we throw in the food safe. That really depends on the time. Debbie, you can answer that one.
Yeah, correct. The food safe is included in all of the enhanced Bridgewatch rating programs. The SVOP is only offered in some of the programs, depending on where they're being offered.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, good. So as So what we're doing right now, we're trying to parallel both the BridgeWatch rating regular public program with the enhanced program, so that BCIT offers one program for all people. Currently, the BridgeWatch rating, the traditional one, the public one, isn't inclusive of the meds. And the enhanced one is, but that's changing. So right now we have we just did a course review, and we're going to be adding those two components to the BridgeWatch. So basically, when you sign up for the BridgeWatch course, and I believe it's going to be earmarked for September, when you sign up, whether or not you're public or you're through the OPP program, the enhanced program, you will get the entire package of 17 weeks, and that will be inclusive of everything we just talked about. Okay, and if Debbie can answer some questions there, and we can get questions later. But what is a BridgeWatch rating? Okay, so just so everyone we're clear on this, what exactly is BridgeWatch rating? Well, it's an entry-level position into the marine industry. You will be serving as a rating or a deckhand on a vessel. It can be a vessel from 5 gross tons to 3,000, 4,000, thousands of tons. BC Ferries, Coast Guard, tugs, water taxis, you name it. We teach you the skills that you need to be successful in the industry. And as I mentioned, there's stuff like seamanship, knot tying, splicing, a little bit of navigation, although you're not going to be responsible for that necessarily, but you are there as been part of the bridge team. And one of the biggest things is becoming a lookout on the bridge and steering these vessels. In addition, we talk about cargo work, stability, a little bit of meteorology, construction, a little bit of, like I said, navigation, some chart work, and everything like that, and a lot of safety items. We introduce you to some regulations, the Canada Shipping Act, Marine Occupational Health and Safety, and basically how to do your job effectively and safely. Because let's face it, we all want to go home at the end of the night, right? Back to our loved ones. If we're out for 3 weeks, we want to come home safely to those who are waiting for us. So that's the program in a nutshell. I don't know if I've missed anything there. What else do we have here? Entrance requirements. Oh, perfect. I like this. Okay. It really helps me. I can see the BridgeWatch rating there. So that has everything across the board. Agnello can talk about the engineering and the nautical science. But for the BridgeWatch rating, you do need a 50% in English 12 to be accepted into the program, Math 11 a 50%. And then, of course, for all courses, you need your Transport Canada Marine Medical, which is something, it's pretty much the only thing that you need to get prior to enrolling in these programs. There's no sense in enrolling and getting accepted and going through the programs, and later on you don't pass your marine medical. The marine medical, just so everyone knows, are done by designated physicians. Transport Canada has a website, and you can look them up that way. And then when it comes to the competition in the program, well, for the regular BridgeWatch, the public one, it is a first come, first served basis. However, Debbie can speak probably more to the wait list when it comes to the Indigenous and women's side of things when it comes to the enhanced program. Anyways, that's it in a nutshell, and I'll see if I can answer some questions here as we go along. Thanks everyone for everything, and Agnello, con's yours.
Thank you, Travis. Thanks for all, and thanks in the interim taking that position for the NAM and helping with the program going on. Yeah, carrying forward with the entrance requirements, when we go to marine engineering, we need English 12 with 50%, and we need Math 11 with 60%. Now remember what we are quoting right now. These are the minimum requirement. Okay, these are the minimum requirement. Now, to be more successful in the program, the higher grade and the higher percentage you is much, much better. That I'm saying that if you have Math 12 or maybe higher, that's higher percentage, that's welcome. Then again, within the math, there are various, right, like workplace math or foundation of math or pre-calculus or calculus. So obviously calculus trumps all of them because it's a higher, very high level math. Followed by the calculus is your pre-calculus. And then comes your foundation of math and the workplace maths. So that's how it works out. So when we look at all these academic subjects, we look at all this aspect of first what level, grade level you're coming with, what percentage your level coming with, and what type of math you're coming with. Okay, so that plays a major role. For so far, there is no physics requirement for marine engineering, but knowledge is always preferred because there is something what is called the basic engineering sciences, which looks at the marine engineering field with more in the physics science world. Okay, and then of course your TC medical certificate has to have, if you are applying for an engineering program, it must say for engine service. Likewise, when you're doing for the bridge watch rating program, your TC medical certificate must say you are applying for a deck service program. Okay, because if not, then we have to send it back to you, because sometimes people just don't put anything, they say any category and we cannot accept it, because each medicals which are done, whether it's an engineering program or nautical science program or bridge watch, they have certain requirements to be met. The very stringent one is the nautical science one, then the marine engineering one, and then the bridge watch. So that means each category has got their own requirements, and the doctors will conduct the test and examination based on your service requirements. Okay, so that's why it is very important that you mention to the doctor what program you're interested in going on, and they will carry out the medical certificate accordingly, and they will mention in the medical certificate accordingly. So please ensure from your doctor that when you receive the provisional certificate, it mentions the type of service very clearly. Okay, don't come with an engine service for a deck program, like whether it's bridge watch or something like that. So you have to be very clearly. Of course, recommended in a category is your chemistry 11 and physics 11 or mechanics. They help a lot, especially in the engineering world. Okay, there's a mandatory questionnaire which has to be submitted. Okay, that basically outlines like what you've been doing, what are extracurricular activities, what is interested in the program or something like that. And there are cadet program terms and conditions which has to be sent as a part of a package of the entrance requirements. So we look at all these things. Okay, now as you can see, competitive academic grades above minimum, obviously, because it's not one or two candidates, there are lots of candidates who are applying, and when we have lots of candidates when they're applying, then we have to look at all this criteria in order to meet them. Okay, now there's a related transferable experience which we may look at it if required or no, we can do that. Then there's a teamwork and leadership. Okay, and communication skill and knowledge of the marine industry. So all these things are tested in your interview when we do an interview. So all this teamwork, communication, knowledge of the marine industry, leadership, all these are tested as a form of an interview, and we look at an interview at how fit you're in the marine world. That's how our intention is, and to that qualification we add when we do the final uh, ranking of the candidate. But the very strong point in ranking of the candidate is the academic requirements. Okay, now same thing goes for the nautical science. We have English 12 requirement for 50%, math 11 for 60%, and physics 11 for 60%. Okay, so in nautical science, physics is not a recommended anymore. It's a mandatory subject. So if you do not meet the physics requirement, automatically you will not be accepted or may be considered depending on what the chances are. Okay, and once again, your TC medical certificate should be endorsed for deck service. Okay, now recommended is pre-calculus 11 and 12. As I told you, when we look at math, we look at the various type of maths that you've done at school, whether it's the foundation of math or pre-calculus or calculus. Obviously, calculus trumps you all, and then the other things are there. And of course, there are mandatory questionnaires for this one also. And of course, the cadet program terms and conditions. And as you can see, the competition is about the same that we do for marine engineering. For the bridge watch rating, Travis has already explained to you. And for bridge watch rating, as long as you meet all the requirement, the academic requirement and the TC medical certificate is good, you are enrolled on a first come, first save basis. Okay, first some course, but not that doesn't happen in the marine engineering and nautical science. There is a competition. In bridge watch rating, there's no competition. There's first come, first serve, as long as you meet all the requirements which are required for the course. Okay, let's go into bridge watch rating program. So we have program intakes. The normal bridge watch rating, the public one, in the month of March, September, and December. The application window is ongoing, so it doesn't close. We keep on taking the applicants. Okay, the tuition fee is estimated around 2,583. Of course, this is a long time ago, and it is subject to about 2% increase every year. Okay, and of course there are taxes to be applicable. Now, applications do not apply for specific intake. You could be just on the wait list, and then if it's available for you, and if you've come through the pipeline all clear, then you get enrolled in the program and you get accepted. You'll get the acceptance letter. So, moment you accept it into the program, you will get an acceptance letter. Okay. So once you get the acceptance letter, you have to immediately pay the commitment fee and be available for the program when the program starts, whether it's the month of March, September, or December. Likewise, for the Bridgewater Enhanced Rating Program, Rating Enhanced Program, we do have an intake in February, June, and October, but this keeps on shifting because I think so. I'll hand over the con to Debbie to speak on this particular part about the application process for the Bridgewater Rating Enhanced. Debbie, can you speak on this particular part?
Hi, I certainly can. Thank you, Agnello. So with the Enhanced Bridgewatch Rating Program, you're not applying through the online platform like you are for the regular Bridgewatch or nautical science or engineering. You would email the Bridgewatch Rating _enhanced at bcit.ca email and request an application, and I will provide you with everything. And then all of your application and supporting documents are all submitted directly to that email account. Once you are deemed to be fully meet the entrance requirements, you're waitlisted for a seat and will be contacted once your name comes to the top of the waitlist. Thank you, Agnello.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you, Debbie. And remember, the Bridgewater Rating Enhanced program is a fully funded program. That means this funded program is from Transport Canada, the government of Canada, and is meant for Indigenous people and for women only. Okay. Coming back from Marine Engineering program, we have, as I told you, we used to only have one intake of in the month of September, but starting from 2026, we are going to start another intake in January. So that means starting next year, we will be having two intakes. One in September, one in January, one in September. Okay. The application window for the September intake is from October to the March 31st of next year. The January intake, which is going to start in 2026, we have still not formalized the application process, but that will be coming on very soon. And you would have a very less window to apply for it, because usually for a January intake, we would like all the applications to be in by at least end of September. Okay. Of course, going forward, then it will open a little bit earlier, maybe in February, and then we are accepted by September. Okay. And as you can see, the marine engineering program is plus minus about 20 grants, and obviously this also is subject to about 2% increase every year. Okay. So again, I told you this program does not carry a wait list. So that means if you've been on a wait list, we do not carry automatically for the next one. You have to reapply again because it's a competition. So there are fresh applicants. We need to give chance for all the fresh applicants and for them to come to the table and, to show how capable they are into the industry. So again, the wait list is not carried over. You have to reapply for it. I believe this for the first time for the January intake, we may consider some of the previous applicants, but depending on how much time frame is left. But right now, I'm not sure about it. The process is still being talked about, discussed about, and very soon that shall be coming up on the website. So stay tuned for the marine engineering January intake. Coming to our nautical science, we have two intakes per year, one in February, one in September. Okay. Now for marine engineering and for nautical science, the new intakes will have only 12 seats. Okay. Like previously, they used to have 16 seats, but we are going to 12 seats because we are offering two intakes per year. So they will be all 12 seats intake. Okay. The February intake apply around from October 1st to 31st March. Sorry, for the September intake, and for the February intake, we start the process from February 1st to September 30th. Okay. Give or take, you're roughly about 20 to 21,000 or for your fees. And again, this one also, we do not carry a wait list. Even if you're on the wait list, you have to reapply for the program. Sometimes you may have to withdraw from the program and reapply for the program. Okay, that's what, because as long as you're on the wait list, you cannot apply for another program. You have to withdraw and then apply for another program. So if you're on the wait list, that is your call whether you want to stay on the wait list or you want to withdraw and apply for the next program. Okay. Okay, best thing would be to ask whether what position I am on the wait list or something like that. Now actually that becomes a little bit of a sensitive information for us to give out or something like that. But sometimes it may be just for you to just take a chance about it. Okay, because it's very seldom we have less candidates dropping out from the program or from the list, especially in the nautical science world. Okay, so to contact us, obviously I have Carla Langs as a department head on top, but is Travis Tipton is a department interim department head, so you can contact him. Travis, I think so. The phone number given there is slightly wrong, 604453, but I don't know what are the last four digits for you. So if you can correct it afterwards, okay. Uh, then of course me as the department head for the cadet programs, I have my number given and my email ID. So there is an underscore between the first name and the last name. Then of course there is Captain Mujib Siddiqui, who basically conducts all the interviews, goes through the academic process of selection of the candidates. Okay, and Debbie Powers is there as a program coordinator for the Bridgewatch Enhanced program. And then of course general email advising for the program advising. There's a program advising number and the program advising email also available for you. Travis, if you would like to give your phone number in case if they want to contact you, because I don't know what are the last four digits of your number.
I actually have no idea. I never use it. So your best way to contact me is I put my email in the chat there, because chances are I won't be able to answer it anyway. So just email me there.
Great. Thank you so much. Thank you. Yeah, and I've finished with my presentation right now, and I'm going to stop sharing the screen, and I'm going to leave the floor open. And I think so Chantal will control the number, the questions coming out to us, and we will try and answer them as much as possible. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Agnello. Thank you, Agnello. I think actually Debbie and I were able to pretty much handle every question in the chat looking through, but I see some people have their hands up. That's great. If you want to ask a question verbally, please put your hand up and we will take you in order. Yeah, no, I think we got everything actually in the chat. So, Riddy, you look like you have your hand up first. If you want to unmute yourself, you can ask your question.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah,
Yes.
go ahead, Rudy.
Yes, hi, my name is Riddhi Das. My question is for Mr. Agnello. I'm looking to know about this engineering program. Like you mentioned, there are two separate sea time requirements that the candidate has to do. So I would like to know if this sea time program, so they need to be done on Canadian flagships only, or can also be done on foreign flagships?
Oh, they can be done on any ships as long as you have. Technically, we place you on ships over here, but if you already have a company with you who can place you on, then you're more than welcome to go. We usually place you on either Great Lakes or local ferry companies or something like that, which can provide a sea time requirement. And just to clarify, the sea time requirement is total of 6 months. You get 2 terms to try and complete those 6 months. So each term is of 19 weeks long. And technically speaking, if you can do 12 weeks in the first term and the 12 weeks in the other term, that should, or 13 weeks in the other term, it's better. So more sea time you have, the better. It becomes easy to calculate because the sea time process is not calculated by us, it's calculated by Transport Canada. So if they find that you are a day short or day too here, they will tell you to go back out at sea and complete the sea time. And obviously no company is going to call you back for a day or two, right? They will call you for 2-3 months. So it's better to be a little bit more than your required sea time and get it done with it. Okay, and of course you can do it on any ships that you want. If you have your own company to work on, you're more than welcome to do, but you have to let a cadet coordinator know that you already have a ship in mind, okay, or a company in mind.
Understood. So, Mr. Agnello, second question is that, of course, I'm asking for my son, not for myself, just to make it clear. And if, for example, he's doing his cadetship on a foreign flag vessel, so does it also, is there, if he wants to go to Transport Canada for his first examination, maybe, I don't know what is it called, maybe class 4. So, will a foreign flag vessel sea time also count under Transport Canada, or Transport Canada only recognizes Canadian flag sea time?
No. Transport Canada recognizes any flagship, as long as they are convention ships, so that means they have to be STCW convention certified. Now, most of the ships, they follow it. So there's a proper structure which they have to fill out the Transport Canada requirement for sea time. There's a special form, and that form has to be filled up. So even if they go on foreign flagships, we don't mind. It's better actually, foreign flagships is foreign flagships, because that's the sea time which is required, because the certificate that you get is a foreign flag, what do you call it, international endorsement.
Understood. 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 Sir, I will take a little bit more of your time. Another thing is that after he is finishing his graduation ceremony with BCIT, I understand he has already done his prerequisite 6 months, right? That he needs to fulfill for a certified engineer on watch. So that he will finish within his 3 years of BCIT course. Is it correct, sir?
I mean, the chances given from our side for the candidate to finish that 6 months time within the 2 terms given. Sometimes the student may not want to go, right? They may default on their thing, because maybe for one particular sea phase, they may have not gone out, they may have fallen short of it. So we still continue with the 3-year program, and the candidate still has the opportunity. Once he completes 3 years, he can still go out at sea and complete the time, and then go to Transport Canada and appear for the exam.
So in that case, 3 years will be fully classroom, because if he is not able to do, for example, he's not willing to go at sea in between his term, or he's not getting a proper company who is sponsoring him as a cadet. So those 3 years he will be studying full time in BCIT and then going for 6 months of training.
No, sir. No, sir. The 2 terms which are given for sea time, he has to be out at sea. So he's not on the campus. We don't expect him to be campus. We expect him to be sailing. Now, if he chooses to sail or doesn't choose, so that's his call, his or her call, right? That's what we're talking about. But the frame is given from the program. The time is given for the candidate to go out and get everything done, completed the time. Okay, whether he goes on the foreign flagship or Canadian flagship, as long as the ship is approved, they are more than 500 gross tonnage. That's what it is.
Okay. One more question, sir. After he's finishing his sea time and he's getting his diploma from BCIT, will he be eligible to go to UK and appear for his MCA examination to get a UK certified engineer's certificate?
See, as far as UK is concerned, I have no idea. That's for the UK to decide whether they will accept or no. From Canadian point of view, he's got a Canadian license. What the other flag administration determine, that is their call. So he's entitled. I mean, it's an STCW certificate, but how much of it they will wait against their national regulations is for them to call it.
Maybe it's a good idea to check with MCA.
That's correct. That's correct. Yeah.
Thank you. And as a final question, I heard all the enrollment criteria, subject-wise and marks-wise, like pre-calculus and all. So, is there any additional benefit or credits he will be given if he is from a IB board or he is from Canadian board? So, do you have any kind of benefits if he is going from a IB board?
If he's got international credentials, that he has to get the international credential equivalent to Canadian one.
No, like he is in Canada, he's studying in Canada, but then if he is switching to International Baccalaureate Board instead of Canadian board, like the course is offered in several of BC schools IB course. So if he's doing IB course, if he's going to colleges like UBC, he is getting some credits because he has done certain subjects already in IB. So do you have any facility in BCIT in case he's doing an IB course, will he get some credits, or that would be same like anybody coming from Canadian board as well?
We are, as I told you, that the more higher credential is the better for us. So we will evaluate on a case-by-case basis and accordingly place the candidates.
Okay, understood. Yep. Thank you for answering all the questions, Mr. Agnello.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Okay, the next person. Who's that? Mohit?
Yeah.
I believe that's Jack.
Oh, I didn't go.
Hello. Thank you for your time. And I'm wondering for the Bridgewatch program, what is the people getting hired after finishing the program?
I can try to answer this one,
Yeah, sure.
Agnello.
Thank you.
Okay, so yes, I see that. Yeah, that's a concern. Obviously, we have a pretty good rate now with both programs. There's always a flood of candidates come out our doors and go into the marine industry. It really depends on how well the industry is doing and what time of year you graduate. Okay, I have students that walk out and they actually, some of them have jobs prior to even finishing the course and they're just waiting to get their certificates. Other students struggle, right? Depends what company they're going to. For instance, BC Ferries, they hire in January, February, March to get ready for the busy summer season. Coast Guard hires all year. Tug and Tows and different companies, they have different scattered hiring times. Right now, there's not a lot movement in C-SPAN because of tariffs and everything like that. So it's kind of hit and miss. But I would say a good 90% of our graduates from the Bridgewatch program get employment within 6 months. So Debbie, would you agree with me on that one?
Yes, I've been tracking the employment rates for the enhanced students, and counting in COVID, it was 70%, but the last year we're at about 90%. Really, truly, it depends how engaged you are as a graduate about finding employment. If you're stuck on just getting into Coast Guard, then it's going to probably take you a while. If you're open to whatever's available to start building experience, then you can pretty much guarantee that you'll walk into some kind of employment right off the bat. And certainly most in that 90%, most of them are being hired within the 6 months.
Yeah, and what we do too in the program too, we have kind of presentations, industry chats, and we get local companies in, and we give you information about how to contact things like BC Ferries, Coast Guard, Tug and Tow, WCMRC, and all these other companies. So we set you up, but you have to take that next leap. That's the best answer.
Yeah. And to add to that, you have a small component, I think, on resume writing in the program, but we also have the BCIT Student Association present to the class. And as a student and as a BCIT alumni, you have access to their services for a lifetime with support of writing your resume or practicing for interviews, all those kind of things as far as supporting your job search.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you.
Okay, Mohit, you have your hand up.
Yep. Yeah, thanks guys for the presentation. I think that part of my question's already been answered, but I think it's once again about the Bridgewatch. So I'm guessing Travis will take this.
Sure.
So what I have written down is, could you tell us a little bit more about what the career path might look like? Because when I see Bridgewatch, as we know, that's pretty entry level, but the other two diploma programs, they are usually taking us to like the captain level or the engineering level. So are there further certifications we can do to kind of rise through the ranks? But, yeah, and I think just part of that was, and I was gonna ask, how do you kind of look for work after graduation? But I think that's kind of answered. But yeah, maybe we can give us a little bit more info on some of that.
Yeah, absolutely. So the two other programs there, the engineering and the cadets program, nautical cadets program, those are programs you enter if you want to basically be an officer right after you're done the 3-year program. Engineering officer, deck officer, okay? But there's still options available for those who want to, we call it go up the hawse pipe, which it's a nautical term. It's a pipe where the anchor comes out. It's the more difficult path just because of the fact that you require that much more sea time. And I'll tell you, I did that way, and it's not that bad. All right. So what I did, I started at BC Ferries when I was 23, and I got all my sea time through BC Ferries, and I progressively got my courses one by one. what we call them upgraders modularly. So what you can do, they're part-time programs at BCIT. You can even start taking these courses before you get the required seat time. And just so everyone knows, if you're going at that route, you need 3 years of seat time, like 1,080 days of seat time. That's what I had to do at BC Ferries, okay? And in those, you don't get them in 3 years. It could take you 6 or 7 years to actually get all that seat time. But you can start chipping away at all the courses, and we have syllabuses and all the information that you're required to know to become an officer, to become the watchkeeping mate, just like the cadets, but you're doing it in a different way. And like I said, I did it that way, and it's just as fine. But there's other tickets. I saw a couple of questions there. Yes, we don't have programs, but we offer the courses for things like the 60-ton master, the 150-ton master, and so on and so forth. So there's other opportunities and career paths you can go. It's not just bridge watch and you're stuck as a deckhand or cadet officer if you want to be on the deck side. No, far from it. You can do it different ways. And you just chip away at that seat time, and you chip away at those courses, and eventually you have enough seat time, you have your courses, you take all that information to Transport Canada, and then just like our nautical cadets and our nautical you do the orals at Transport Canada for the various certificates. The resource that's really good to have for everyone to know, it's called the Marine Personnel Regulations. I suggest you can Google Marine Personnel Regulations. Inside there, it goes over exactly what you need for what level. I mean, it might be a little advanced for us today, but it is one of the documents we at the school always reference and show the students so that they know what their progression is. So I hope that answers your question. There's lots of different avenues to go, but you're not stuck as a deckhand. You don't have to do a cadet program to become an officer. You can do it. Hey, I like things a tough way, so that's what I did.
And to add to what Travis said, many of the marine employers have programs that support deckhands that want to ladder up and get their watchkeeping mate or get their 150-ton or whatever that may be. So there's a lot of opportunity for educational support within many of the marine employers.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah, not a problem.
Okay, next I see there is Yuan. Yuan, you want to unmute and ask your question?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, sure, go ahead.
Okay, so I have a couple of questions here. I think you kind of answered this already, but I just want to confirm, when you graduate from the engineering cadet program with the coursework and the necessary seat time complete and everything, you would have to go to Transport Canada to basically do some exams to receive your fourth COC, right?
That's correct.
Okay, so it's not given automatically once you just graduate.
No, a graduate that's the BCI's point of view of graduation. But so there is two contexts when you do a 3-year program. Is you get a diploma from the BCID, and you get your professional license, which is called the Certificate of Competency from Transport Canada, which is a minister's certificate. So before they give you the certificate, the Transport Canada examiner has to verify certain things. So they do carry out a small, what is called the general knowledge, engineering knowledge test, which sort of summarizes the entire so many years of coursework. So that's what they do to summarize your understanding. So that's a little bit of multi-point of, and then after that, they have an oral exam. It's where they personally ask you certain questions just to make sure that the certificate they're giving to the person is going to be responsible enough or not. Nothing like that. It's not that a whole type of that, oh, you write this question again or that. No, they're just very generalized type of short questions and answers that you ask.
Okay, got it. And you mentioned, I don't know if you mentioned this, I think you do get exemptions for higher level COCs from completing this program, right? What level does it go up to? I think second?
So the diploma program will take you after the 4th class level. But when you come for the advanced diploma for the following year, that takes you the exemption to the 1st class level.
Okay, and what is the application process, or and how long does that take for the advanced, like the follow-up program for higher levels?
So once you complete a diploma program and you have got a 2 seat time, and you've got your 4th class license, you can immediately apply for the.
Okay, so it'll be 1 year. There's no co-op or anything.
When I say there's no co-op, because you're already an officer, so you're expected to be working as an officer. So
Yeah.
I'd be asking for at least 2 months of time because there are certain courses that you're already an officer level. That's why.
Okay, makes sense. So I'm wondering, when will we get more information for engineering cadet applications for January of 2026? And yeah, can you answer that first?
Yeah, we hope to have that information as soon as possible, because just about 2 weeks back, just last week actually, it was officially approved by the board of governors, the board from the BCIT. So now, but that the information has to be populated onto the website. So that takes a bit of a time, and to assimilate all the requirements. So probably I expect at least by the end of this month or slightly before that, or at least by the end of this month, to everything to come onto the website. Okay, but no, Arun, first, you know how things take up in this world, so it may take a little bit give and take here and there. But our endeavor is to get it as soon as possible, because the application has to close down by end of September to at least mid of October, depending when we put it up on the website.
Right. Okay, and will interviews be conducted in person or on the internet?
Usually we do it on Teams, same like what we have done right now.
Okay. So do you have any numbers on the placement rate for co-op for engineering cadets?
100%. Engineers are
100%, okay.
required. It's a highly sorted field in the marine industry. Yeah, engineers are required, right? So it may take a little bit of a time, but you get a placement, and once you get a placement, you are there already with the company, because engineers are sorted very highly in the company.
Right. Out of curiosity, this is just gonna be my last question. Curiosity, I guess what prompted the creation of a new intake for January for engineering cadets? Like, did you hire more staff? Were you able to hire more staff, or what's the?
No, it's the number of candidates who have applied for the program are on the waiting list. So looking at the number of candidates who have applied for the program, and there are only 12 seats are being offered, and so many seats are remaining. So we thought that we will go with 2 intake of 12 each.
Okay, so before it was 1 intake of 16 at a time.
That's correct.
Okay, so I guess there's like 8 more now per year.
That's correct. That's correct.
Okay, got it.
We don't want to
Alright,
go with a
thanks very
higher
much.
number also, because then the placement will become a bit of a tough decision. So we just want to keep a comfortable number where we can place our cadets with the companies also.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
Yep, welcome. Okay, I think so. Next hand up is Wali Noori.
Hi.
Hi.
Hello, everyone. I think most of my questions were answered. I worked for 20 years in office administration work. So I have also a social science bachelor degree. So recently I was laid up, and I ran into one of my friend who works in the marines industry. So he is pushing me so hard to to get a license here and join the marine industry. So it's very new for me. So as soon as so he is my only motivation, a motivator. So the thing is, what is actually I joined later. So what is the difference between the Bridgewatch rating and Bridgewatch rating enhanced program? So after that, I have another question. So only 2
So
questions.
I'll let Travis speak for the difference between the 2 Bridgewatch.
Basically, it's the Bridgewatch Enhance. I know you missed it, but Bridgewatch Enhance is the federal funding for Indigenous and women. Okay, so the actual courses that you're going to get are pretty much the same. And what we're doing, we're going to be aligning the actual public intake with that of the enhanced. So when we say enhanced, it's not like, it's academically enhanced or anything like that. It's just that everything was in one package for the enhanced, where it wasn't for the public, but we're aligning it all together shortly. That's pretty much the difference, right, Debbie?
Yes.
Okay. My second question is the requirement. Should we go for English? I know English is my second language, but I went to Canadian higher institution. I have a bachelor degree here from Canada. So is it, do we have to go through English test or a math test, or how does that work?
So if you've completed a post-secondary degree here in Canada and you have English equivalent courses, so we're looking for English or humanities, a number of the 3-credit courses. So if you've completed any of those, then that would meet the equivalency. And same for math. We could look at your foreign credentials, or if you've completed math at the post-secondary level, we'd be looking at a 3-credit math course to meet that Math 11 equivalency. So if you've got that post-secondary degree and you think that you meet them through that degree, you can always apply with the credential, and they'll confirm whether you meet that requirement. You can also, if you want to wait and confirm that before you apply, you could reach out and contact our program advising, and they could assist you with that support.
Okay, so even I graduated high school like 20 years ago. Are this still acceptable?
There's no recency on the English
Okay.
or the math requirement.
Okay. Okay. All right. Thank you. So before I apply, so what? Who is the person that I need to contact and see if I meet the requirement?
So there's information on our website, or
Okay.
if you're still not clear, then contact program advising.
All right. Thank you very much.
Okay, next person we're looking is Andy Lai.
Yep, it's me, Andy. Good evening. Can you hear me?
Yeah, can hear you.
Okay. Yes, I have 2 questions about the Bridgewatch. One question I kind of asked, but I apologize. I don't feel like I'm completely satisfied. About the security clearance or like a background check. I know they might take a while. Is it a good idea to like get one of them? Like, I know like I'll say like, I know that like joining like the military or something, I know the background check is very expensive. But like for the maritime industry, like I need that security clearance or something.
So a security clearance is an employer requirement. It's not a requirement to apply to the program. So I wouldn't worry about doing a security clearance right now. That's something that you would do as part of your hiring process with an employer. The one thing that I would suggest you do, if you don't have it already, is your Canadian passport. Because if you're getting hired by an employer, many go into international waters, and you'll require that Canadian passport.
Oh, I already have a Canadian passport, so
okay. So you're good.
But sorry about this, but is it a good idea to like at least get RCMP background check at least, like even if it's not security?
No, I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't go to the expense, and because those usually there's time limits on those, so I would not do that. I would hold off and wait and follow that process with your employer, depending on the criteria they're looking for.
And
I see what you mean. Oh, sorry.
I'll tell you, Andy, that really the only employers that are going to look for that are the ones that are traveling international waters.
Yes.
So Coast Guard, definitely, you need a security clearance. I know that the Port of Vancouver asks for a security clearance because you're dealing with international shipping. And any tug and tow company that may travel to Alaska or Washington State, but you don't need a security background check for something like BC Ferries or WCMRC. Yeah. So again, like Debbie said, it really depends on what employer or employer you're going to.
Oh, sorry. Those are the ones that at least have my mindset on. But I know that there's like different ones. There's like a Transport Canada Security and this regular RCMP one.
Yeah.
Let's just maybe get the RCMP one first. I'm sorry, but just.
Yeah. Again, I wouldn't do that. Wait, and if it's required for your employer, then they will give you the appropriate paperwork and direction on what they're looking for.
Oh, okay. I see what you mean, but it's just I'm worried that it might take me like 6 months or a year or something, because I know like sometimes it happens to people. Because I did return. I actually left the country for a while. I only returned like 2 years ago. I'm a citizen.
So Yeah, again, I wouldn't go to the expense because probably you'd have to go and redo it again if you were starting with Coast Guard or something. So I wouldn't do it.
Oh, okay. Thank you for answering my wrong question.
No worries.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, next. I see Mohit's hand is up again. Mohit, go ahead.
Yeah, I hope I'm not getting in the way of anyone else who wants to ask something. Well, again, I question for Travis, and I think maybe Chantel, maybe. It's kind of a two-part question. Travis, can you, and I think both have kind of been addressed a little bit, but I just wanted to hear a little bit more about it. So for Travis, I think the first question we saw, or second question in the queue was, when you finished the Bridge Watch, you talked a little bit about how one might go about finding their first position, and I think you mentioned that BCIT does kind of support that process a little bit. That was kind of the first part, if you could maybe talk to about that. And the second part is, I'm not sure who can best answer, but I read in the chat that the Bridge Watch will be undergoing a tuition hike from September onwards. So that's a little new information for me, if we can have any more info on
Yeah, I'll start off with the employer side of things. So, and then they can talk about the tuition. Yeah, like I was saying, it's when you've completed the program, like nothing's guaranteed, right? You know, we don't guarantee you a job once you've completed the program. We can't, because the onus is on the student to go out to the marine world and start putting your resume out there and stuff like that. But what we provide, and as I think Debbie elaborated on this already too, is that we provide you with a little bit of resume writing, how to format your resume, get a little bit of cover letter work, and then what we give you information and contacts to a lot of the marine employers, Ferries, Coast Guard, and we also C-SPAN. We even bring in union members on the ILW Local 400, sometimes the SIU. And so they kind of talk to you about how to apply to those particular companies that are union based. And sometimes we even have presentations from some of these employers like the Coast Guard, BC Ferries, I often do, WCMRC, C-SPAN, all that stuff. And the other thing, and I always say this to my students too, is it's like, if you have any questions, even post-graduation, I'm always willing to take a call or email and direct you into the right direction. But short of holding anyone's hand and walking them to the door, we do, I think we do a pretty good job of educating our students on where to go and how to do it. And again, post-graduation, you have services available to you, and the instructor is always willing to help you out if you need any extra stuff. So that's pretty much how we do it.
So, and I'm happy to speak with respect to the tuition. So up until now, the Bridge Watch has been 12 weeks, and the tuition for that is $2,500. And then in order to have entry-level employment, you also need the basic safety training and the survival craft training. Both of those are done in a part-time studies day school format, and they are not eligible for student financial aid, but the tuition for them is $2,500 and $1,500 respectively, so about $6,500 all told for the program. There's been a change to the Transport Canada TP, in which now we are required to include the basic safety and the survival craft together with the Bridge Watch in a program. So starting or effective September, the Bridge Watch program has been extended out to, I believe it's 16 weeks, to include both the basic safety and the survival craft. So the tuition will be, I think, around $6,500, which is what you're already paying. The benefit to the students coming into the program with that $6,500 tuition is that now it's all going to be eligible for student financial aid rather than just $2,500. And students will also be eligible for, should also be eligible for the student health, extended health services. So it's a real benefit to the students. And to support your journey into the marine industry.
Makes sense. Thank you both.
Okay, anyone else? More questions? Looks like we've been pretty loud and clear. Oh, Andy, go ahead.
Okay, I apologize if this is kind of a dumb question. For the record, like I am currently employed full time, but since I returned recently to Canada, like from Hong Kong, like I did really struggle at finding jobs at the beginning because so many Canadian companies seem to only like look at Canadian experience. Is it worth? So I want to ask, is it worth it for me like to maybe find a volunteer job at the moment to go along with my full time job so I could build more like Canadian experience here, so I can have an easier time finding a job when I graduate from the Bridgewatch program?
Travis, you want to answer?
Yeah, I'll try. Maybe you can chime in here. The thing is, though, you gotta remember, it has nothing to do with whether or not Canadian citizen, Canadian companies. It's your credentials, right? If you walk out of the Bridgewatch rating program with our training certificate, you still need to get 2 months of sea time, right? That doesn't make you any more or less employable than someone else that has the same credentials. So honestly, I wouldn't worry about it too much, because as long as you have that certificate in your hand, you're just as employable as one of your cohorts that went out, did the same program, same course, and everything like that. So it's what all these employers do now, and it's all suitability tests. They're suitability interviews, and they ask questions about emotional intelligence. It's not even, yes, that piece of paper, you need that to be employed, but after that, how do they decide? Well, it's all suitability. Are you suitable? Can you work at sea with someone on the bridge for 6 hours at a time, right? So that's the sort of thing they're looking at. So whether or not you have more employment in Canada or not, I don't personally think that makes a difference. That's just my 2 cents.
No, and I'll add to that feedback that I've heard out of some of the employers who have interviewed from our students that, for instance, sort of didn't pay close attention to the seamanship skills. That's something else that they may ask you to do in that interview. So, and they're looking to make sure that you retained all of that information. So I think it's more important that you are paying close attention to what you're learning in class and are able to demonstrate that you can apply it when you're being interviewed for a position.
Oh, okay. Thank you for that. That was kind of a relief, because I mean, I'm willing to do anything to make myself more employable and do better, but it's just I feel like taking a volunteer job on top of my 45-hour work week, I feel it's like way too much. So it's basically better to just focus on like doing well like in the course and so doing my best.
Don't wear yourself out. All right.
Yeah,
if you're
exactly.
if you're taking a Bridgewatch, we're there for 6 hours a day. All right. And there's homework sometimes on top of it. We need you to come fresh and not, go. I have had students, they said they've done that, or they work weekends. People get sponsored from BC Ferries to come back and take the Bridgewatch course or whatever like that, and they're working the weekends. And they all say to me, no, I don't want to do it. I want to concentrate on my schooling. Now on the Bridgewatch level, our academics aren't as tough as the cadet program, but there's still components that you want to concentrate on, right? So my recommendation would be to concentrate on schooling, do well in all your practical and all your evaluations, get that certificate, and go from there.
Thank you very much.
Okay, any more last questions? Chantal, any more hands up or something? I can't see any hands up, or anybody has any last questions that they want to ask?
No hands up, and we're all caught up in the chat as well. So I can
that's
sort of,
nice.
stall a little bit in case anybody has anything left coming in. But otherwise, we could start wrapping up, I think. Yep. Okay.
Yeah, here
Awesome.
goes one more round to ask all of y'all if you have any last minute question to ask. We are here over here and live persons to ask you if you have anything. Yeah, Yuan, go ahead. Your hands are up again.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so out of curiosity, could you kind of name drop some of the companies that you can potentially be working for in co-op that you BCIT works with in the Marine Cadet program?
So usually, whether it's nautical science or marine engineering program, we have lots of companies back east and locally also. So let's start with locally over here. We have BC Ferries. We have Group Ocean. We have, I think so, Hello Ferries also may have taken one or two candidates. And of course, there's a Canadian Coast Guard. Back east, we have got a lot of companies. We have what is called the Transport Degane. We have Algoma Central. We have CSL, Canadian Shipping Line, and then Canadian Ship Line. Then we have Lower Lake Shipping. We have McKeel Marine. And of course, there are loads of other companies besides any other. And then, of course, internationally, we do have sometimes Princess Cruise Line coming to pick one or two candidates, maybe from the engineering or from the tech department. And recently, for our nautical department, there is a new company called Virgin Voyages. So they also pick up one or two candidates from us internationally.
Good.
Okay, and oh, sorry, go on. Go ahead. So will there be like designated career fair days? I mean, do they come and set up a booth and you can talk to people and submit your resume? Is there or how will that happen?
So most of the time we try and encourage companies to come. So some of them, they do come over here on the campus, like the BC Ferries, especially the local industry will come and they'll conduct the interview. Some conduct the interview remotely, especially the companies back east. But your first 2 days of the program, you start with the orientation, you do your resume writing and everything. And then I think so within the first or the second week, you have to submit all your resumes to our co-op coordinator, who will then forward it to the various companies. And then, of course, the companies start narrowing down and they have the interviews with you. And once they do the interview, you do a match of companies that you would like to work for, and they do a match of what candidates they would like to have on their companies. And then if the match fits with yours to theirs, you are golden. You're already with the company. Otherwise, if there's a sort of another permutation combination sort of a thing going on in select making the match, but that's how it works out, right? And of course, there are 12 candidates only, and so far we have managed to place all our candidates successfully in the industry.
Okay, thank you very much.
Agnello,
Debbie,
there's one question in the chat. They're asking what the starting salary is when they graduate from the nautical science program.
Travis, you want to answer that?
Well, not really. It really depends where you go. Like, I mean, it fluctuates anywhere between $60,000 and $120,000 a year, depending again where you go. I would say a BC Ferries officer makes about $80,000 to $90,000 a year. Okay, but other companies maybe more, maybe less. But then again, there are deckhands that make that as well. So really, it fluctuates all over the place. I don't know, Agnello, if you have any more on that one.
No, I think so. Pretty much ballpark figure, 60 to 80 grand or 90 grand, depending on the companies. Of course, this is just the base salary we are talking about right now. It also depends on the overtime that you could incur, and then of course certain companies, they take you back in Arctic where you do extra work, so you get paid for that extra work. So you could be hitting even 100 plus, right? And then of course, well, the Bridgewatch guys, the deckhand, it all depends on what company they're working, where they're working. And could be making anywhere from salaries what the officers are looking for, or maybe even higher than that also.
Yeah, I think BC Ferries deckhand starting is about $54,000 a year for a full-time deckhand. Yeah.
WCMRC is about 40 an hour, and C-SPAN now is up to 45 an hour.
There you go. You got the answer. Any more questions? You only had your hands up.
Paige has a question in the chat. Paige would like to know, when you finish the nautical science program, what will your rank be?
You will be as what do you call a engineering watchkeeping officer. So that's basically what we call the 4th class officer, the junior officer. Then after that, of course, you can go to third engineer, you do another examination, and of course you do your advanced diploma to get your second class and the first class. But you start.
I think she was talking about nautical science though.
Oh, nautical science. From nautical science, you start as a third officer or a junior officer, which you could technically call the watchkeeping officer. So among watchkeeping officer, there are two levels. One is the second officer and the third officer. Obviously, third officer is the entry level. And depending on how well you are and the company wants you, they can promote you to second officer. Did that answer your question? Any more?
Thanks, Agnello.
Yep. Any more questions we have for the last?
I think that's it.
Yeah,
That's it,
salary
yep.
wise, I think so. It all depends. Obviously, the second officer would get slightly more than the third officer, but the ballpark figure is that they're almost about the same. But just because of the seniority level on board the ship, the second officer plays slightly higher than the third officer, because at the third officer level, the responsibility is slightly lesser than the second officer level. So obviously, because the responsibility comes more, your wages come slightly higher. Not much difference, but there is a difference in their wages between the second officer and the third officer. The last rank on board the ship in the nautical side, the captain, that is the master, we call them the master, right? Master on board the ship or captain on board the ship. And for an engineering side, the last topmost rank is the chief engineer. That's correct. He's ranked as master.
So the certificate is called Master Mariner, or MM. That's where that master comes from, Master Mariner.
Okay, well, there you go. James, go ahead.
I have a question. So I already finished my academic requirements for leading to Bachelor of Science in Maritime Transportation. I just want to ask if it's good enough to the credential to apply for bridge watch keeping.
So again, if you have completed English 12 equivalent courses and Math 11 equivalent courses in your bachelor's degree, then they would be accepted. So to speak to your specific bachelor's degree, I'd have to review the credential. Most likely, you would have the English because of the courses you would have to take. The question of whether you've completed a calculus or algebra 3-credit math course. If you've completed one of those two, then you would meet the math requirement.
Yeah, I already have my college algebra, and just give me 1 sec.
So
For
James, is this a
English,
Canadian one? Do you have a Canadian one or an international one?
for English, I have like Maritime English.
No, I'm saying, is it a Canadian equivalent one or is it an international one?
It's an international one.
Yeah,
Okay.
so if it's international credentials, you have to get it equivalent to Canadian one.
Yeah. So most likely
but-
your credential, you'll meet the math, but you'll have to meet the English still. That you wouldn't. Yeah. There's information on our website that if you go to the BCIT website and you'll see along the top, one of the folders is admissions. And then when you open it up, you'll see equivalencies. There's information there that will help guide you. And if you're not sure, then you can make an appointment with program advising.
Is there possible like I can meet someone personally for it?
Yes,
like
you
I can go
can-
to BCT.
You can make, yes, you can make an appointment with program advising.
Oh, is there no walk-in?
You'll have to go to their website for information. I don't know what they're currently doing. Just 1 sec, I'll look it up.
I think so. Why doesn't he apply to the International Credential Evaluation, the ICES, where people submit his documentation for the Canadian equivalency?
Yeah, he may, Agnello. It depends on the document. Some are already assessed. But if he takes it to program advising, they'll be able to tell him whether that's what he'll need to do, depending on what he has.
Because when I arrive here in Canada, so I bring it to Transport Canada, and they said that they're gonna assess it and contact the school the Philippines, and they're gonna come back at me at around like after a year, but I don't hear anything from them that time.
Yeah, you will have to wait for the Transport Canada assessment letter if you
Yeah.
want to
Actually, I
carry on with
applied
your.
that time for CDN number,
Okay.
and they said that they took some photocopy of my credentials, and they said they're gonna assess it and contact the one from the school back home.
Yeah, that's
And-
what they do
yep,
to assess
yep.
it. Yeah.
And I've just put the link to the web address for our program advising department into the chat.
And if you haven't heard from Transport Canada in a year, you need to follow up with them because they don't do
But
anything.
I
Yeah.
already have my CDN number, so and I already took CFAR's medical certification because I applied around last month in BC Ferry
Okay.
for like terminal attendant, but it's on shipboard.
Okay. So yeah, we'll have to see how the credentials come in through with Transport Canada. If you're looking for direct entry, if you're not looking for direct entry, and if you enter any of the program, then you would have to apply to us, not Transport Canada.
Oh, I see. Okay. Okay, that's it. Thank you.
Okay, Yon, you got your hands up again.
Yeah, it's me again. So, so first question is, so I just got my provisional marine medical certificate in Toronto, but I didn't know that I was supposed to tell them that I'm applying to the engineering program. So, like, it didn't say anything about fit for engine room or anything. So do I basically need to do this again?
You don't have to do the medical test again. You just need to go to the doctor and explain to him that if he could revise your provisional, and of course his application to change it to engine. That's all it is.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Agnello, if I
Good.
can just step in there with my experience with the Enhanced Bridge Watch, most likely you will need to contact Transport Canada and have the change made there. Once it leaves the doctor's office, they can't make the change. And it's up the top. If you're looking at the top of your medical, it says occupation. And so so you have a choice of engine, deck, I think catering or other.
Okay, well, I put other and I said Marine Academy. Like I didn't know what I was doing.
Yeah, so just contact Transport Canada, and if and they'll update it, but they won't reissue you a temporary. They'll do an update, and when they send out your permanent 5-year certificate.
Okay, that's great because the Transport Canada like office is literally 5 minutes away from where I live in Toronto, so it's pretty convenient. Second thing is I'm looking at the mandatory applicant questionnaire for marine engineering, right? And I guess things like relevant experience. Well, to be honest, I don't have any relevant experience because like my job it has been in like tech consulting. Like, do I put my work experience, professional work experience with that, or do I just not put anything there?
So when we talk about relevant experience, we're just looking at in the relevant experiences, have you been teamwork or leadership or something like that, right? We're not looking in the marine-based field. We're looking in the working field of how you can adapt to all those things with all those experiences required. Because when you're on board the ship, you're working with a team, you need a bit of a leadership, you need a bit of adaptability to the marine environment. So those type of things we're looking for.
Okay, great. All right. Okay, that clarifies a lot. So
Okay.
I have some stuff to put there then. Okay, thanks very much.
You're welcome. Okay, anybody? I think so. Chantal, we are almost at the time up, or how it goes on now? We still take some more questions if people have, or
If you want to, or you can just refer them again to your contact information if they've got further questions. They can be they can follow up with you guys after. Sen asked, I
Somebody
need
else.
minimum attendance to graduate, like i.e. 70% class attendance.
It's
All our
90,
courses, 90%. All courses
90%.
in transport can requirement is 90%, except for the meds and certain other specialized courses, you need 100% attendance. Okay, does that answer the question? 90% attendance for all the courses, and for meds and other specialized courses, 100% attendance.
That is clear.
All right.
All right. Well, thank you very much, everybody.
Thank
Okay,
you, everybody.
Thank you very much. Yeah, you all have got all the details
Thank
about
you
where you
very
can
much. Have a
contact
great
us,
evening.
even the
Thank you.
website also. Take
Thanks,
care.
guys.
Okay. You have a
Thanks,
good evening,
guys.
rest of the day. Thank you, Debbie. Thank you, Travis. Thank you, Chantal,
Bye-bye.
for everything.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay. See you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow. Chantel, I figured out the chat.
Oh, good.
So if you go, not in the Teams that we're in for the info session, but if you go to actually your chat screen, and then you can select up the marine programs and open it up, and then you along the top you can choose chat, and then you can do all your chat from there, separate from the actual meeting.
Okay. Good to know. Thank you.
So there you go. All right. So thank you. I will see you next week, and Agnello, I'll see you tomorrow.
Oh, yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
All right.
Bye.
Have a good evening,
Bye.
everybody.
Good evening. Bye.